Hi, welcome to the Abyss Tarot T.A.T. So we are doing your 31 days of Halloween tarot messages, and we are on day 21 today. I know I missed yesterday, day 20. It was a very busy day. I really wanted to record and I just didn't get a chance to. But here we are today, day 21. So let's talk a little bit about the number 21. 21 is the world in tarot. It is the completion, the ending of a cycle, and basically closing out something to start something new. It is also the number that represents rebellion, which is very interesting that 21 represents rebellion because to me, 21 breaks down to the number 3. And to me, the number 3 is always Aquarius energy. And we know that Aquarius is the rebel, right? They are, the rebel rouser. They are the ones to start the rebellion, and they're very much a part of that energy. So it's very interesting that 21 represents rebellion. It also represents coming of age. The number 21 represents like growing up, new cycles, and coming of age, which is very interesting because the card that came out today for your challenge card is the Goose Girl Theft. And the Goose Girl is kind of about coming of age. It is about the rebellion, the, you know, being independent and making decisions, right? So I always think it's so interesting the way like the number is and then the card that comes out, they go so well together, the way they link and connect. But anyways, we'll get into the Goose Girl in a little bit. But so yeah, so the number 21 could also be the number of sin, okay? So some people could see it as sin, but they could also see it as that because you're being in that rebellion, you're not basically going with the rules or the flow or the order of something. So it's kind of like you're thinking outside the box. So they could see it as a sin. So it's kind of like, let's say in some religions, they view this as a sin and that as a sin. So if you kind of go out of that, if you break from that, they see it as a sin. So, so it could be just that. It's not really like a sin, but it's just maybe certain views from people in religions could see certain things as a sin. So, and again, it goes so well with the Goose Girl. But anyway, so let's go ahead and get into your comfort card. We do 2 cards. So we're going to go ahead and pull 2 cards right now. That way you can choose which one you want, one or two. One or two. This one wants to come out. Okay. One more, please. And this one wants to come out. Okay. So we have 1 and 2. And let's go ahead and get a charm. Let's see for card 1. What charm is this? Oh, it's a heart. It's a heart charm with 2 flowers in it. Very pretty. It's a heart with 2 flowers inside of it. The flowers almost look like 2 seashells. So, okay, that is card 1. And for card 2, let's get a charm and see what this is. Oh, we got 2. Okay, we have a little house here. Very cute. Small little home. And the other one is the Knight of Swords that came out with the little house. Okay, so this one, card 1, is the heart with the 2 flowers that look like seashells. And card 2 is the little house with the Knight of Swords. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about your challenge card. So your challenge card here for today is 15, which breaks down to the number 6. Now my nose is itching. Wow, as soon as I picked up the card, wow. Okay. So, 15 breaking down to a 6, which, 6 in tarot is the lovers. 6 is also about family connections, unity, that family circle, those connections. So the Goose Girl, it says theft. So if you don't know the story of the Goose Girl, it basically is the story of a princess who her mom, the queen, sends her off to get married, to a prince in another kingdom. And when she sends her with like her maid, her servant or whatever to go with her so she doesn't go alone. And along the way, the maid girl starts basically treating the princess like really bad, like crap, and she threatens her and she tells her we're going to change clothes and I'm going to marry the prince and you're going to be the servant. And the princess, she's very kind of like quiet and very, like she's just not really somebody that stands up for herself, so she does it. And then the maid threatens her. She says if you ever tell anybody, like, I'm going to hurt you. Like basically she threatens her life. So they go to the kingdom, and the maid, pretending to be her, pretending to be the princess, ends up marrying the prince. And the princess actually becomes the servant. She becomes the Goose Girl. She becomes the girl's maid. She becomes the one who takes care of the geese. She's out there feeding them, tending to them. She's, basically just being the maid, the servant. And the king notices, the guy's father, the prince's father notices like something off is here, like, because he's old, he's wise, he's more knowledgeable and understanding, more intuitive. And again, his son, the prince, didn't even notice. He didn't even notice that this girl wasn't a real princess or whatever. Like, he didn't notice something was off. And again, the number 21 being today, right? Like I said, it's the number of like coming of age, that understanding. It also talks about like wisdom, like kind of growing into that and learning that. And like I said, the card falls in perfectly with the numbers every day, right? Because the dad, the king, being more wise and perceptive and understanding, he knew something was off. So anyway, so he finds out that yes, that the servant was actually a servant and not a princess. So he, basically things get switched around, and the princess does take her role as now the wife of the prince, and that type of thing. And she becomes more understanding. She continues to be kind. She continues to be a kind queen now, and in that type of energy. But it's like she grew from that. She had an understanding that even though she didn't really know, she wasn't too like worldly. I guess you could say she was very sheltered. She had a very sheltered life as a princess. So she didn't really know how to like stand up and fight for herself. And again, 21 being that number of rebellion, right? Of like, I'm not going to do that. So it's like she learned those things after this experience, this terrible experience that she went through. She learned these things, but it was also because of the help of the king, the prince's father, that was like, wait, something's not right here. Because again, he was already older, he was already wiser, and the prince himself wasn't even old or wise enough to understand that. So, okay, but let's go ahead and actually read the story here from the book and see what the book tells us about the goose girl. See what their take on it is. Okay, okay, here we go. The Goose Girl, number 15, Theft. When the hour for departure drew near, the old queen went to her bedroom, and taking a small knife, she cut her fingers until they bled. Then she held a white handkerchief beneath them, and let 3 drops of blood fall upon them. She gave it to her daughter and said, "Dear child, take care of this token of my love, for it may be great of use to you upon your journey." Oh, and that's right. And so the card does talk about like your connection of who you are, right? Because her mother gave her a brand new clean handkerchief with 3 drops of her blood on it to always have with her. So that's like that connection, right? That those blood ties. A young princess sets out on a journey to marry a prince. Her mother, a widowed queen, gives her only daughter a protective charm, 3 drops of her own royal blood upon a snow white handkerchief, and a golden goblet from which to drink. The princess will take this journey upon her beloved horse, the wondrous Falada, who has an extraordinary talent. He can talk. She is to be accompanied by her maidservant, and so the 2 women, one royal and one a servant, set upon the journey to destiny. After hours of travel, the castle is far behind them. Thirsty, the princess asks the servant to fetch her water in the golden cup, but the maidservant tells her shortly to get it herself. She will not give the princess the golden goblet, so the queen's daughter cups her hands in the flowing water of the river and drinks. While leaning over, the 3 drops of blood somehow speak, sighing, that if her mother knew how she was being treated, her heart would be broken. A second time, the princess stops and asks for water. Again, the servant refuses. The princess, shocked, drinks again from the stream, and again her mother's charm sighs, speaking of how wrong this treatment is and to beware. The princess is so shocked at the warning, she tumbles forward into the stream, and the handkerchief with her mother's blood and her magical protection is lost. With the golden goblet is the keep that the maid is keeping, the blessing of the mother is lost. The maid makes her move and demands the princess strip and swap clothes with her. She explains that she is going to be the princess. She will marry her intended, and if the princess speaks a word, the maid will kill her. She forces her to swear an oath of silence that she will never speak to another person of this crime. The princess, disabled by her own gentleness and sheltered life, obeys and agrees, and so begins her life as the servant and ultimately as the goose girl in the kingdom that was once meant for her to rule over. This story seems a simple one of true identity and injustice. It also seems to be about, at its heart, overcoming intimidation and restoration. But this tale is also deeply magical. The charm given to the princess is one of the most potent of fairy tale symbols. The river is the place where her true self is lost. Okay. And from this point forward, she is no longer able to speak her truth to a single person. Okay. The loss of the protection of her mother is the catalyst for the change within this tale. So yeah, because the stream where she was drinking the water represents emotions, right? And the 3 drops of blood fell into that. It's that charm, that connection of her mother was lost in that stream. Those emotions became basically lost, closed off. Okay, when we lose who we are, our ancestral link, our stories, our connection to place and to land and to blood, we are lost. Our identity can be taken and we can be bullied and intimidated into giving up our power, even our true selves. And so the maid takes the goblet, takes the prince's horse, the noble Falada, and then she takes her destiny. The prince is fooled, so he sees only the maid's fine garments and her pretty face. But the old king can see the young servant's dignity, beauty, and grace. Even so, the false princess has Falada's head cut off. Look at that. She even had the horse beheaded, so because he was a talking horse, and she, obviously she doesn't want him spilling the beans on her. Um, so he cannot share the truth with anyone, and she hangs his head over the gates of the castle to remind the goose girl of what her fate will be if she speaks out against the false princess. So she has that head hanging there to be like, look, this is you. If you speak up, this is going to be you next. Wow. Each day she tends to the geese, combs out her hair, golden strands flying in the breeze, and speaks with Falada's head beneath the gates of the castle, sharing her burdens and fears. Their friendship continues even after death. So the goose girl, aka the prince, the true princess, talks to the horse's head every day. Even in death, her and the horse are still very connected. So she still has that connection. The king sees her speaking with Falada, and even though she refuses to share with him what is that she spoke of, he convinces her that she must share her tale with an iron stove, a place of ironclad safety where no soul will hear her. Her story spills out her heartbreak over the murder of Falada, the golden cup, the loss of her mother's gift, and how ashamed she is of letting both her mother and her dead father down. The king, now aware of the deception, asked the false princess what she would do should someone steal a true princess's identity, slaughter a magical beast, and steal a mother's charms and deceive a prince and king. The false princess declares that she would send this person rolling down a steep hill, trapped within a barrel studded with the sharpest of nails. Okay, girl. The king declares this to be her fate, frees the goose girl, and restores her to her royal status. This may seem to be a tale about a bitter servant and a weak princess, but it is, at its heart, about protective magic and magical beasts, about appearances and truths, and about identity and generational truths. Okay, there is a rich vein of symbolism in this beautiful tale. Yeah, there's a lot of symbolism. And so when this card comes through, know that someone extremely honorable has been wronged, and their work, their special signature, has been stolen from them. The truth must come out. If any have stolen or taken what belongs to you, metaphorically or actually from you, it shall be restored to the rightful owner. It also speaks of how the cruelty of a malevolent and jealous soul wishes upon an innocent other will only return to them. There will be a balance and a reckoning. Again, the strong connection with nobility exists beyond death. Falada's magic continues. It cannot be killed, nor can the truth. Justice will be done. Allies continue to do their work on your behalf. And even when the protection of parents vanishes, your own integrity and nature will see you through. Truth powers forth, and the old king, wise and perceptive, hears all her words and knows the truth for himself for the first time. She may have lost her status, but her nature is still noble. After 3 days of tending the geese, her story becomes known. The false princess is punished cruelly after choosing the punishment for herself, because I mean, she did say what she would do to somebody that would do that. And the prince learns wisdom and how easily he was fooled. Falada stays half within this world and half within the other. So, see, there's still that connection with the horse, that talking horse. He's still part here connecting with her, and he's still in the spiritual world. And the princess does not forget what it is to be left out and is a kind and fair queen in her turn, meaning identity theft, authenticity question, blood magic, justice, intimidation, wisdom. There will be those who envy you and try to take what is yours. Know you have your own ancestral guides and strong family ties. Believe justice will be done and the truth will be revealed. Know that who you are cannot be copied. You are protected and cared for. Your status is not why you are loved. Ooh, I like that. Okay, really like that. So yeah, there's definitely in this story there's a lot of symbolisms. You should look it up and read it or yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of the versions of the story online, but there's definitely a lot of symbolism. And again, I said it just seems to connect. The challenge card does seem to connect with the number of the day, you know coming of age, rebellion, um, being connected, right? Being connected, being protected, trusting your intuition, and justice of those injustices. There will be justice and you will prevail. So, I mean, at the end, there is a happy ending, right? But there was a process here of this lesson that she learned from this, you know? Like, even though she lost the charm her mom gave her, which was the 3 drops of blood, even though she lost that, and her horse that she was a talking horse that she was very close to, she lost that too, but then she still had those connections, those ties. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get into your comfort card for those of you who chose card 1, which was the charm with the heart with the 2 flowers in it. And it does look like little seashells, very pretty. And that heart, right? Those heart connections, and it's 2 flowers, so it's like a lot of love here. Makes me also think heart chakra. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at your comfort card. Her last day in the light. Oh wow, 10, breaking down to a 1. Unexpected endings, surprise changes, and sudden shifts. Ooh, okay. Her last day in the light, card 10. 10 breaks down to a 1. Okay, here it is. The vampire speaks. What you may wonder is this angel so clearly defined by daylight is doing here, and miss we who walk in the dark path, and who are committed to assisting you to understand your blessings and enrich the great wonder of the human life you have been given. She is here, for she is about to become one of us, and this image decepts her last day amidst those who walk under daylight. There are many times in your human life when you walk for the last time in a circumstance or situation which you take very much for granted. But we are here to share with you news, both good and bad. The news that a time is coming to an end, and the great source of security may be about to finish. And it will soon be your turn to have a hardship that only you can bear and become heroic in the undertaking. Very much sounds like this, right? She had this hardship that she had to go through, but then it says you become heroic in the undertaking of it. Same thing with her. She did end up speaking her truth because the servant threatened her and said, look, this is going to be you, just like your horse here, if you speak. But in the end, she did speak, you know? Where was I? There is no cause to fear, though. Being human, you will fear. It is time to understand more of what you have avoided and what circumstance soon to come to you will teach you. You will not lose anything that you cannot bear, although it is a sacrifice and it shall be difficult. At times you will struggle. But this ending must take place for you to come to greater illumination. And again, coming of age, the number 21 today. Okay, for greater illumination at a later time. And for the angelic nature within you to grow, you must endure something that will temper you. At the finest sword of the archangel Michael, you will become again one who walks in the miracle of light, of color, and of the creatures who live amongst the rays of light that stream from the noble sun. But soon you will go into the night of your soul, and you will confront parts of yourself that cannot be seen by the light of the sun. They can only be found as they shine in the dark. So soon shine, but shine in the dark time. You will have courage, and you will return one day to the songbirds, to the hope of the robin, and to the faith you may have lost for a time. It is to be yours again. And if you are already within this dark time and this card emerges, then soon you will walk again into the light. You will emerge, and all about you will be the miracle of the day of light and after the great darkness. Blessings. Prepare for change. If you are currently in the darkness and the soul is weary and aching, take hope. As soon you will emerge into the light again, a risen one. And the miracle of life, even if the past lies in ruin, will be the greatest blessings for you to behold, and the simplest of companions of the day will bring you the greatest of joys. Anything else? Hold on. Working with this card. Know that change is a healthy part of life, and even the most difficult and harsh shifts in our lives can create the perfect conditions for our development and transformation. Wow. Oh, I really like that. Transformation for sure. So, after this challenge here, like the goose girl, there's this beautiful transformation. There is a growing here. There's a developing. There is a light after the dark. Really like this. Okay, so if you chose card number 2, this little house here, okay, and the Knight of Swords with it. So very interesting. The house and the Knight of Swords. So some type of stability, something also being revealed here. Something about the home too. Maybe some type of change in the home, something being revealed within the home. Okay. And wow, redemption. Are you kidding me? 20. And you know what? Yesterday I didn't do the card of the day, right? And it was number 20. It was day 20. And also 20 represents redemption. That number does represent redemption. And also it is the judgment card in tarot, card 20, which is also about redemption. So wow. So we got a little bit of yesterday right here with you. It says absolution, forgiveness, and penance. And it's interesting because yesterday I was watching that show Task, that last episode or whatever, and the guy is in the hospital. He's like a bad cop, and the good cop, I guess, is in there, and he's also the good cop is not only like a cop, but he's a former priest. And so the bad cop in the hospital bed tells him, "Aren't you going to give me my penance?" And he replies something that really stuck with me. He says, "I've never given anyone penance." He says, "People punish themselves enough as it is already." And then he walked out, and I went, "Whoa, like that is so true." And I love that. And because he was a bad cop, so he told the good cop slash priest, "Are you going to give me my penance?" I've never given anyone penance. People punish themselves enough already as it is. So I was like, wow. So anyway, so that's kind of making me think that. But let's go ahead and take a look at your message, your comfort card, okay? Redemption. Redemption. Okay. The Vampire speaks. Vampiric creatures in myth and legend are rarely sorry for their actions, but you do not know how sorry we are for so much of what we have done. Penance is a kind of healing. So when this card comes to you, you are being shown clearly that you need to feel the relief of saying sorry. This penance is not made to burden or punish the self, but to relieve the self from the negative impact of imbalanced action, thoughts, and words. So yeah, so again, this is like saying somehow you're punishing yourself. It hurts us when we hurt another. It is a form of self abuse, exactly, to indulge a momentary urge for spite or selfishness or greed, because you will pay for that over and over. And you resist the apology. You do, for we have seen it. You fight the need to say, "I can do better," for you can. You truly can. And to admit to such as not to take blame or be made wrong for anyone wishing you to do this is not a pure soul. But for you to recognize a misdeed and to affirm you are better than that by saying, "I am sorry." This is a humble, beautiful, straightening thing. To say sorry is to be redeemed from the self hatred, the judgment, and the silent criticism that otherwise repeats throughout your mind. Be what you are, sorry. Repent. Do not punish yourself. Be sorry for the right reasons. Oh my goodness. This is not sorry for being human, for loving, for making a mistake. It is sorry for hurting another who expected that you'd be your best self. And what that best self is what you must decide and aim to become. Blessing. Being able to be sorry. To say sorry and take responsibility will lift any burdens you may be carrying from your shoulders. Working with this card. It is time to be open. Sorry about that, but I felt a shift. I was like, felt a shift going through me. Working with this card. It is time to be open about your remorse and to let what has been secret to be said. Wow. Okay, very interesting because we do have the Knight of Swords here, speaking the truth, things being revealed, and like I said with the little house, something about the home, right? Maybe there's somebody in your home that you have to say sorry to. Maybe there's somebody in the home that you need to let something off your chest, right? There's something here, or maybe you even feel like you wronged them in some type of way. Maybe you didn't, but maybe it's a feeling you have. And again, penance here, it's that punishment, like how can I make the wrong right? So redemption here, maybe somebody also wronged you, and maybe they want to say sorry, or maybe they're going to say sorry, and maybe it is the redemption for them. It is their penance to kind of get it off their chest and not carry it. But again, it could also be you. You're carrying some type of weight on your chest, and that is not the best version of you, right? To have that, to carry that, and to stay silent about it. So it's like needing to speak up about it, definitely with that Knight of Swords. Wow, definitely needing to speak about it and get it off your chest. Kind of again like the goose girl, she would not dare speak about it because she was in fear, of the threat that the servant made her. She had to look at her beloved horse's head every day and be like, "That's going to be me if I say something," so it's like needing to speak about it, because then not only do you grow from it, but then you become the best version of yourself, right? So not only was she able to speak about it, but she grew from it. Again, that coming of age number 21, she was able to grow from it. She was just like, okay, I'm just going to be the servant and that's it. But at the same time, she felt she let down her mom, the queen, and her deceased father, the king. She felt she let them down because she wasn't being the best version of herself, of what she could have done. And so I do feel like this connects. Trust me, it all connects, right? But yeah, I definitely feel like this does connect with this about needing to reveal, to speak, and the challenge here is to do it, because you know that's going to help us be the best version of ourselves, because we're not being the best version of ourselves if we need to say sorry, or if we're carrying some type of weight on our shoulders, or if we're not speaking on something that we know we need to speak on. So that is your message here for today, day 21, okay? 31 days of Halloween. I hope the message resonates. I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.